Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. With me, your host. My name's Chad Medved. Welcome back to the podcast. For all the newcomers, this is a podcast where I speak to interesting people about what they do and how they got to that point in life. And I'd like to say welcome. For everyone else that has been here before, you know the drill. If you could, and you have not already, please scroll down on your podcast app and hit subscribe. That is the biggest help that you could give me. Absolutely free, absolutely, takes barely no time. Hit subscribe, and if you could, 5-star review, and give me a nice, give me a nice review if you could. If you enjoy the podcast, couple nice words, they go a long way. If you got nothing nice to say, keep it moving. Kick rocks, keep walking, because, we're working hard out here and we don't need that negativity in our lives. We watch the news, it's all negative. People wake up on Thursdays. Hopefully, whenever I hear a podcast that I like, or whenever I open up my podcast app and I see a podcast by someone that I like to listen to or a guest that I like to listen to, I get so excited because I am, that's my way to get away. I turn it on, whether it's, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, Bobby Lee, any of those people. I get away by listening to podcasts, and I enjoy it. And hopefully people can get away on Thursdays and listen to this podcast. So, nice word, nice rating, nice review, and a nice subscribe will go a long way. I'd also like to say thank you very much to Turner Dairy Farms, the sponsors of I'll Call You Right Back podcast, and the creators of Turner's Premium Iced Tea. There is nothing in the city that is more, iconic than a carton of Turner's Premium Tea. And you want to know how I know that? You want to know how I know that is fact? Because Dave Portnoy, El Prez from Barstool, flew his ass over here on a private plane, and he took the time out of the day to, go around Pittsburgh and do some pizza reviews, okay? So he went to Gennaro's, he went to Giuliano's, and he went to Fiore's. Whenever he went to Fiore's, he said that Turner's tea was being bought like it was a narcotic, and it was, it was flying off the shelf. And he was like, all right, give me that carton of tea because everyone keeps buying this. And then he proceeded to do a 1-bite review. And then following a long, breakdown of why he gave his score, he awarded Turner's tea a 9.2. And, come on. I mean, what more could you want? Turner's tea, it's like Heinz ketchup. It's like Kennywood. It makes you feel at home. They also are going to be releasing their brand new cookies and cream milk, and it starts hitting the stores today. So go down to whatever corner store, bodega, anywhere that you go, and you could maybe, if you're lucky, find some cookies and cream limited edition milk. Also, if you are, if you're fueled by Turner's like the podcast is here at I'll Call You Right Back, hop on over to turnerdairy.net and you could go to their drop-down menu in the shop, and they got all kinds of brand new merch in there. And I don't know, they're pumping out some really dope shit. And I'm proud to be fueled by Turner's. Couple other things I wanted to talk to before we get to my guest. It's going to be, October's coming up. I'm one of them people who, I get ready for Halloween on September 1st. I get into it. I'm already decorated, and I'm excited because in October I switch to the Halloween episodes. I get into the creepy shit, and I'm getting into the mood, and I have been watching a lot of scary movies, and I'm excited to kind of shift the focus into some Halloween stuff here in a week or two. So I hope you're excited as well. But the reason that everyone is here, it's a very special week. Exactly 100 episodes ago today, not today, but exactly 100 episodes ago, I spoke with Anthony Bowser, or AKA Billy Hoyle, whatever moniker you know him by. And I spoke to him. It's weird. 100 episodes ago, we didn't plan that. It just, it was meant to be. It was fate. It was like it was meant to be. And I said this whenever I posted a picture. If I was to do a morning show in the city, I feel like that Anthony is absolutely. He would be the perfect counterpart to do a morning show with. I just enjoy I enjoy him very much. Like, I enjoyed our conversation. I know that everyone is going to enjoy it. So this week, we basically just talk about, we talk a little inside baseball. We're talking about the music industry. We're talking about, branding in general. We're talking about like how we kind of came up in, I guess an entrepreneurial type vein. I don't know. He works in the music industry, and I am doing podcasts. I guess it's entrepreneurial. I guess our main focus is to be able to pay our bills by doing what we love, and I would define that as an entrepreneur. And I really liked talking with Anthony because like. He is someone that I could, relate to. You follow someone on social media, and I know that's just like a very brief look into their lives and everything like that. But I also have known him for a little bit, so I know who he is, and like I just know that I really respect his opinion. I really respect, the game that he has. And, how he's navigated through life these past, 10 years. Like I said, I've talked to him before on the podcast, episode 34, and we talked all about how he got involved with Timebomb. If you don't know what Timebomb is a boutique in the city of Pittsburgh. Actually, it's in Garfield now. It was in Shadyside, but it was literally the mecca of hip-hop in the city. Like, big things happened there. It was a powerful place. It holds a lot of lore there. And, it is, he got to see a lot of things from, a different vantage point than the rest of us have. And I was excited to talk to him all about that during that episode. And, he doesn't work there anymore. Like, his main focus is music right now. So this episode, I just kind of wanted to talk to him about like how he approached his creative avenue during this like coronavirus, what he does to try to stay unique. Because like, if you knew Anthony, like he's not like I wouldn't call him like what do I want to call him? He recognizes quality. You know what I mean? Like he is particular. Particular is a good way. He's not like he's not a fan of the. I don't know. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but he's a certain type of person. You know what I mean? And I was real interested to talk to him, and I was real happy to sit down with him, and I appreciate him taking his time and coming over and talking to me. So I'll quit talking the rest of your ears off. Last thing. Billy Hoyle, a.k.a. Anthony Bowser, will be dropping his next project, Flight of the Condor, on October 2nd. It will be available on a Bandcamp on October 2nd, YouTube and SoundCloud October 3rd, and all streaming platforms on October 16th. And I appreciate everyone listening as usual. So without further ado, episode 134 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Billy Hoyle, a.k.a. Anthony Bowser.
Telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. Oh, this is your extended warranty, and they all call all the time, and it's like, bro, like I've never even had a fucking new car to have a warranty. And that's why I'm like, I know that this isn't going to get me because like I've never had a new car, but it's like, think of the old people that they're calling and they're like, hey, this is your life insurance. Like, you're in debt. So, granted, my grandmother is like a super big skeptic. So she'll be like, fuck yins. She kind of knows. But I'm sure there's a lot of older people. There's a lot of people in general that fall for that shit.
Absolutely, dude. It's like horror stories hearing about it. Like,
yeah, you'll hear someone who's like some old lady who got taken advantage for over a year, and it's like $200,000.
The big one with that, or like that demographic, there's obviously a lot, but like the one is like the person will be calling and be like, hey, I'm your grandson. You can Google and find their grandkid's name and be like, I'm stuck. I need you to wire me.
It's like Michael Scott, whenever he's like, if Prince of Nigeria calls you and asks you for money, you give him money.
Yeah.
And you're just like, come on now.
Exactly.
And it's like the people who do the pyramid schemes, dude.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's like, maybe it's even before I did all that research for that single episode, I was like, pyramid schemes, this is fucking bullshit. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
And then I look into the pyramid scheme shit and I'm just like, who are these people that are doing all this?
It's tough, man, when you see someone that you like know and care about falling for one of those.
Yeah.
Because like the thing is, if somebody's ingrained enough to be posting it and shit, anything you're saying isn't going to get them out. If anything, it's going to dig them in deeper. When you see someone, it's tough. It's like, do I let this person go?
That's where are you at as a friend? If you're someone who cares about someone and you're, it's like your boy and it's like someone you've known for like 10 years, someone that you're not with every weekend because you're smart enough to not be surrounding them people every weekend, but it's someone and you're like, bro, I love you, but you're fucking up right now. Like, and that's where I stand, where I'm just like, I can't, I washing my hands of it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't get involved. I like, maybe if it's,
have you ever been sucked into a pyramid scheme?
When I was like 17 years old.
Let me ask if it was energy drinks, Vive energy drinks?
Nah.
Okay, because that was a big one around us.
Really? I got a phone call and they said someone's name that I grew up with had recommended that I would be good at it. And it was obscure enough of a person that they wouldn't have told me.
Yeah.
But it was also believable. And I was telling my grandfather about it, and one of my grandfather's strengths for certain was like allowing me or identifying things that wouldn't have too much of a negative impact on me, allowing me to experience them.
Yeah.
So he kind of educated me. He was essentially said like, this is too good to be true.
Yeah.
But if you want to go check it out, let's go check it out.
Yeah.
So I went, and it was that Vector or Cutco knives.
Yeah.
And like, as soon as I sat down, I knew what it was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It instantly clicked. And,
you're in a cult.
Yeah. They sit you through a presentation and then they tell you straight up, we're only going to hire 3 of you. And then you go back for this interview and they're like, we think you're great. You're going to work it. I'm like, yo, you do not know me.
Yeah.
You didn't get anything from me from your presentation. You know what I mean? So it's obvious that you're bringing everybody back here. So, I went out, got back in my pap's car, and
you were right.
Yeah,
right, bro.
I don't remember what I was feeling at the time, if it was frustration, if it was what, but I was glad that I had that experience at that age because it allowed me not to be susceptible to it in the future. And, especially at that age, if he would have told me, no, you're not going, it would have just driven my desire to do it.
Yeah.
So that's like with my friends going through it, or if I see people going through it now that I care about or something, I'm like, what if I approach them about it or whatever, I might just dive them into it deeper, maybe like let them just see what it's hitting for and they'll put it together.
And that's what it is, dude. It's like, I feel like that you are a type of person who is very, very, you're a realist. Like I see what you post.
Yeah.
I understand what you post. That's why I appreciate your sarcasm. I appreciate, I appreciate your outlook on things, and it's like I feel like we're kind of similar with the mindset.
Absolutely.
There's certain types of people that are very literal, then there's other people that are very dry, and it's like, that's why I like, that's why I still keep in contact with you and shit like that. It's because you're a normal person, and I feel that we would have similar, we have similar, feelings about things.
Absolutely.
And it's, I think that's what makes it so interesting to talk about, because, I talked to the dude that I just golfed with today. We have the most like profound conversations about everything, and it's like I've known him since like first grade. We went to McKeesport together, and it's like he's the only person that I like have actively, kept in contact with over, 25 years basically. And, we just talk about all this shit and how some people are so like, you can't force anyone to think a certain way,
Sure.
But it's almost like, how aren't they able to see it the way that you're seeing it? But I mean, it's a slippery slope to go down.
I think about that a lot. And then on the flip side, I'm like, well, what is it for me? What is it that I'm not like, that I'm oblivious to?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I get in my head and I'm like, it's got to be fucking something.
Like
I'm not just fully aware. Like there's something I'm involved in, someone I'm involved that I'm not seeing through.
Yeah.
That it's so obvious to everyone else.
Yeah.
And I get in my head about that like quite a bit.
Yeah.
But like going back to like the pyramid scheme stuff, like, bro, that's such a part of music. Like you see these kids or adults, whoever it may be, like,
yeah, full-grown adults even
falling for things, and it like, bro, that's just like a part of the game. Like you can't tell, like there's very few people that didn't fall for like,
some bullshit.
Whatever it may be, the pay to play for a showcase, whatever it might be.
Yeah, we want you on our tape, like, sell some shit, get on our tape.
In some cases, maybe it could work for someone. Like I'm not going to tell anyone not to do it, but everyone I know, like pretty much everyone I know,
same story
has that story where you take that L and like you just kind of got to take it on the chin and keep it pushing. And that's a learning experience. Now, if you're falling for it over and over and over again, like maybe there's a conversation to be had, but like if you get played, like, yeah, that's part of the game. That's
a conversation to be had. That would be a good name of a podcast. It's interesting because like it's like, I don't know, like you said, there's something that we have that we are not like savvy to, that we're probably just like not being able to like see.
Absolutely.
The ridiculousness of what we're doing. And there's some stuff that isn't, and it's so interesting for you to like think about that being like almost like a pyramid scheme, like,
yeah,
but and I guess it's factored in every sort of like every sort of type of job,
industry, anything.
There's it's pretty wild,
worker bees and everything. Like I like to think about it as like your nose. Like we all have a nose, and like it is visible to us right now in our peripheral, but we do not see it.
Yeah.
Like it's too close to you to see it. And like that's those things that like you're completely oblivious to that everyone else is noticing. And it's like you're too close to the source to be like,
Now,
we all have something like that. It's just
whenever
you can't get caught up thinking about it.
But like whenever you like, I think about it all the time. It's like, what am I doing that I'm not being able to like see the more broad picture? And it's like, I think that my downfall is like whenever I'm doing like thinking of like ideas for designs and shit like that, I get so like pumped up about one certain idea and one certain design, and it's like I let my bias like creep into it, and you're just like, no, this is fire, like this is gonna be so dope.
Definitely.
And then other people are like, here, what about this? And then what about that? And you're like, nah, dude, my idea is good. Like it's going to be good. I'm telling you. And it's like, man, I should have listened to their advice more.
It's tough, man, because like you do have those situations where it goes either way. Like there's times where people are telling you things and you're like, no, trust me. and it does work out the way you think it was going to.
Yeah.
And then there's times that, you should have listened to other people. And it's like to try to find a balance between that, like when to listen, when to trust your gut is difficult, because you take a win one time when you listen to yourself, take a loss one time. Like,
yeah.
It's difficult to find out when, I don't know.
But you take them. No, everyone takes the L's in what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And especially if it's someone who's been there, who's doing the same thing and really grinding at it for like a decade. Like, how long have you been doing music?
Like
hard, like hard.
Like, I mean, I definitely say I started getting involved probably around like 2009.
Okay, so
2010.
Yeah,
so
10 years. And it's like, in 10 years of you doing this, whenever you're starting it in the beginning, it's like, it's so interesting to think about, because I just talked to, I talked to all these people, and it's like, whether it's someone who starts a project and this is like their first year of doing it, it's like, I'm like, damn, like I remember that period of time of me in that project. And I'm like, I don't know, dude, you might just kind of watch out for that. And, if you've been doing it for that long, you have already went through these things, and you're learning from these things, and you're hopeful that you could pass wisdom down to the people that you like, that you're like, bro, like you don't want to do it like this because it's going to fuck up. But then you think in hindsight, it's like, no one could have told me shit back then.
Yeah. My approach with it is because I have been working with a lot of younger artists and like earlier in their career recently, building a relationship. When they present me in an idea that maybe I had when I was at that level.
Yeah.
I give them my side, or like the potential outcome that I could see.
Yeah.
Which has basically been my experience. And then I'm like, you should do what you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what I think on it. And then I just wait to see, like, inevitably what I think 90% of the time is what happened.
Yeah.
I just wait to see how they react to that. Like, if they react to that where they're like, you know what, he was right, let me hold more weight to his opinion, then it's like, okay, I want to continue down a path with this person perhaps.
Yeah. But
when they take it as like, I don't know, any other type of way, maybe they're upset, or they think like, they're still like closed-minded where they're like, yeah, you were right this time, but it could have, any different mindset. I'm like, all right, like, you're still, not that I know everything or, or
I get
anything,
it,
but
we have experience.
Yeah. So it's like, if they don't want to continue to take it from there, then it's like, you're going to figure it out on your own. I just might not be there to.
But there's like that first like year or 2 years of that sweet spot where you're like, damn, I'm like new at this. I'm trying to like link up with these right people. I'm trying to get in with these right circles.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, like what could I do to try to like finesse my way
for sure
about it, and like try to get into there and try to like, get with, either the right like producer or the right like fucking screen printer or designer or something like that. And it's like, I think of so many things I did whenever I was like 8 years ago doing that clothing line that like I try to implement into my mind now, and I'm just like, God, I was so stupid back then. But I don't know. It's weird because like I feel like some of the closest things, the most relatable things as far as like, the process is like music and like brands, and like, if you're building music, like if you're building a brand in music, you're building a brand, whether it's fashion or podcast or things like that. So you're going through like some sort of, somewhat the same, process almost. It's almost like in the beginning, you're trying to find that dude that you can give free shit to pump you up. Sure. And you're like,
free beats, free clothes, whatever.
It's like, bro, I got
there's
t-shirts,
some universal lessons there. For
absolutely.
Sure. I think that's why you'll see some people start in a certain lane, whether it be music, and then like maybe their music career hits a certain level and they focus their energy on a different project, brand, or whatever, and you see that be successful.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they got all the bullshit out of the way with the other thing they were trying to do.
Yeah.
They learned those lessons and they applied them to the new thing, because there are just universal lessons in a lot of that stuff.
Now, do you think that if you didn't go through that fucked up shit in the beginning, see, like, if someone was just like, yo, dude, don't do it this way, and I listened to them and just did it the right way, and yo, dude, don't do it that way, and I listened and I did it that way. Like, do you think, like, I feel like they always say, like, you know, it's not about, like, whatever stupid analogy they could put about like hard work and persistence.
Sure.
It's like, if you don't go through that bullshit and like deal with all that like fucked up stuff in the beginning, are you going to be able to be mentally the way you are now? And that's what I think about myself. It's like, if I didn't have to go through the stupid shit and make them stupid mistakes, like, am I kind of going to have the same mindset that I am now?
I think eventually, even if you have someone early on that you're listening to or like taking their guidance, that eventually you will get to a point where you hit that adversity.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, you're not going to know how to deal with it maybe at that point.
Yeah.
Or like, you're not going to know how to deal with it as well or cope with it if you didn't, like, you know, kind of get your ass whipped early.
Absolutely.
You know, I still get my ass whipped on a daily basis, basically. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
yeah, you got to, and that's just immediately like humbles you. Whether it's like, you know, something you put out, you're like, this is kind of fire, and it's like people just shitting on you, or it's like people like giving you a fucking, like, me a bad review, and it's like, it's like, I don't know. And it's such like a weird, like, so for instance, like, you know, this whole world is different now because of the quarantine shit and all the COVID. And it's like, what, as a music producer, like, what, like, I don't know. The COVID shit is so interesting to me because, like, for me, I didn't work for 4 months. Like, I just didn't work. So like, I had all this time to like try to do these different things and try to do these different things. It's like, as like someone like you, a music producer, it's like, what do you do? Like, what were you doing during this time of not being able to, you know, obviously being a producer, you could send people shit. You could like do that. It's like, I can't interview people while we thought there was a zombie virus going around. So it's like, what were you doing during that time to like try to, you know, kind of keep your shit progressing?
I started focusing, like, there's many different avenues as a producer you can try to take to be successful. Like, a lot of people chase placements, like trying to get placements with bigger artists. A lot of people, make standalone tracks, want to build with like one person or a group of people, you know. And I was working with a lot of people one-on-one, and as well as like, you know, obviously chasing placements. But when it's quarantine, like not being able to be face-to-face with people or in the studio with people, I started trying to find ways that I could still be putting out content, music, videos, whatever, with nobody else involved.
Yeah.
And that's when I started doing like a lot more of the remixes, stuff that I might have like dabbled in the past, but not really like spent too much time on, and focusing on things like that. Because like, one thing with a producer, when you're trying to work with an artist, a rapper, a singer, whatever, is like, you're part of the process a lot of times may be done, in my experience, a lot earlier than the artist. So I might finish the beat and they have an idea of what they do. I might not hear the song for a few months, a year, you know, depending on it. And like, so a lot of what you create is, you know, for lack of a better terms, is like held hostage by other people. So like, you know, you may be working your ass off and have like nothing to show for it. Yeah. Like, if every beat you're making is going to an artist
and they're pocketing it
or anything, you know, you might be working your ass off for 3 years and have nothing to show for it. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, because at the end of the day, it's about making the music. It's not well,
you have a different product. It's like, to be like a producer, it's like you're saying, you're doing all this work and you're getting your work out there, but it's like, the only way people, unless they're like a crazy big music head, the only people that are getting exposed to your work is if someone uses it for a song or something like that. And then again, you barely ever get like any sort of like recognition. Like, I don't know who half the people who produces these beats are.
For sure. Like, you know, there's that whole lane. And like, the thing with like if you know, the people I work with, obviously I believe in.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like if they want to take a year and a half to perfect something, I'm on board with it.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm sitting at home salty as fuck, because like I'm cool with it. Like when it comes out, it will come out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, but I just had to find a way, for as much as I was working, to showcase and show that
Yourself.
Yeah, you know, like I was being too dependent on other people for my music to get out there, and like that's when
I feel like you could tell right now too, because like for me, looking at your social media and looking at, you know, like what you've been doing these last like few months online and shit like that is like, you know, it's almost like for a producer or like, you know, a graphic designer, like it's like, for a producer, if you're not working with anyone right then and there, it's like, how are you still like keeping yourself relevant? How are you still like producing content to a point, in a way that's going to be like consumable for, you know, anyone else, not just like a random fucking beat or like a beat pack where it's just like 10 seconds of a beat. Because if you're sending a bunch of different beats to a rapper or whatever like that, they listen to a beat, they like it, and then they grab a beat. But it's like, if you're still trying to like showcase your work and showcase your progression over this time, you know, I feel like you did a really good job at being able to do that, putting out these videos and not necessarily just making it like a music file. Like obviously Big Germ is Big Germ. He puts out them like clips of like, just like, it's just like, it's just like the email. People know when he's there,
you know, just so far.
Yeah. He's already set up
he can
to
do
know
something
that.
like that. He's so good.
Yeah, his name's there, but it's like, I love how you are like, you know, thinking of different creative ways to try to like, you know, bring the eyes to your content.
Thank you.
And I think that you do a good job at that, because you have something hard to like, you know, give to other people, because if you're not a big music head, like, you know, I'm not someone that's just listening to like instrumentals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll watch a video. If there's like a little video and like you put together these cool like edits and shit like that, it's a good way to keep showcasing your stuff, because like that's why I started doing them solo episodes, because if I wasn't able to like interview people, you know, I don't want to just talk to myself. Like,
you gotta keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I mean,
like I'm not going to just stop for 4 months. Like that's where you have to work into like your finesse, is like how you're going to finesse the game at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with that Earl Sweatshirt remix project that I released, that was right when I was just like I need to be doing something.
Yeah.
I need to be like, obviously I'm working on music all the time, but I'm not really putting anything out. I wanted to grow like a personal brand, where prior to that I was depending on working with an artist that was going to grow, or you know, and anything like that. And like, you know, there's people that do a lot of like the YouTube, they every beat they make, they upload a type beat, and you know, they're very successful with that and stuff. But I wanted to, I don't know, that wasn't what I want to do. The type of music or the type of beats I made aren't really what any like majority of rappers are going to be looking for. More of like the boom bap and low end, or maybe like experimental stuff. Like that's way more niche that like people aren't looking for. And the thing with the Earl project, I was like, all right, like I can make beats that I could hear, that I would like to hear Earl on, and if I can craft things around that, I can market, promo it to his fan base. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like stealing that a little bit. And there's like a whole lane of people that just do remix projects or just do a lot of the stuff that I'm dabbling in. So there's like two different lanes there. There's like the big Earl heads, and then there's people that are just fans of remixes and remix projects, hearing something different, hearing beat tapes.
Now, I think that you do it in a good way to not also be just like, you know, everyone says like, sellout or whatever like that. I think that like, you know, the people, obviously I know you personally, so for me to like know, it's like, you know about like the real shit. It's like you're listening to the real shit. It's not very like mainstream, like watered down, like the cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also like something to incorporate into the equation with the stuff that you're putting out. It's like you're not just putting out like, you know, a fucking Drake remix beat, you know what I mean? That's just like, that's just going to get a bunch of views because it's like a Drake remix type shit. It's just like, you keep like a, you know, like a code to the things that you're putting out from what I could gather.
Yeah. I put like, there's definitely thought put into it. Like one of the most recent, well, let me put it this way. Majority of the people in Pittsburgh that I think that I want to work with and I think I would work well with, I'm working with.
Yeah.
You know? So for me, it was like, all right, so how do I get out of that? You know? And like music is like, to me, is like a very tiered thing.
Do you mean like, how do you get out of like the people that you're already working with and like expand?
Yeah. So like music is a very tiered thing. There's like the entry level and like, you know, you keep growing. And like, to me, it's like, you have people in your level or your tier. There's a tier up, a tier down. And like, depending on your scene, local scene or exposure, you're there. So I was like, how do I tap into someone around that I think I could work with, that we would mesh well, that it would be mutually beneficial.
That you already don't have that tie in.
Exactly. So like one of the recent remixes I did was this dude Rim. Of the Villains, who was like a Sean Price, like protege, things like that. And this dude, Eddie Kane, who's also out of New York. And they have, you know, strong fan bases. They're in New York, so they're getting on some like really good radio shows and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was like, this is someone that, you know, these are people I think that like I could connect with, that I'm matching their sound, we're matching their output, and like they're not gonna, like my work to them is going to be something that they're looking for. So it's not like they're going to be like, yeah, I'll work with you, send me 300, I'll put a verse on those.
Yeah,
things like that. And doing a remix for them, rather than me just sending a beat pack, something like that, they hear themselves on it and they're like, oh shit, okay. So like I was already working, had a few tracks with the dude Eddie Kane. I tapped into there. But like then by doing that remix and remixing one of the dudes on that freestyle that I'm working with, and one of the dudes that I haven't got in with yet, to me it's like, all right, this will gain more exposure.
Another spider web.
Exactly. People aren't necessarily like remixing their tracks a lot, but you know, if I do a good job and they like it, maybe then they're going to like, send that beat pack through, rather than me randomly finding their email, sending it with 30 other people. Like that's the thing. Like if
1,000 people are sending the same thing, you know, then that's easy to ignore with all the shit coming in. But if you are asking for someone, you know, that's specific. They know what they're looking for.
100%. And like the thing is that like if I'm blindly sending a beat pack to them, like what I'm making probably isn't like too much different than a lot of the shit that they're getting from other people. But if I'm doing something extra, making that remix, making the video for it and stuff like that, they're gonna fuck with me a little bit harder than that dude they don't know. Yeah, you know, that's like that, or like a lot of the different remixes, things like that. Get someone like million people are remixing track X, track Y. Like get with the people that, you know, people aren't hounding down. Not that people aren't dying to work with those dudes, but like they're still growing so much too. Like a lot of people see whoever's at the top and they're like, I want to get in there. It's like, for me, it's like get in with someone who's working really hard, who is at a certain level right now, is going to keep growing, and grow with them.
Well, then you have to rely. That's like, and then the faith doesn't rely on you. Then it's to rely on the people that are looking for the people that are doing what you're doing. Because I mean, you could lead a horse to water. You know, they say it 1,000 times, but if people can't recognize the potential and the quality that you put into your work, that's the problem that you have. Because it's like, whether it be, I mean, it's literally any industry. It's like the podcast stuff, you know, I talk to different people because like, hopefully I want to establish a spider web there.
Absolutely.
You know, like if I talk to someone random, that is like, you know, the Pittsburgh wildlife shit, like that dude literally goes into people's houses and grabs rabid raccoons, you know. I knew that I've never talked to anyone that does something like that. So my hope is like, you know, I just think of like sticking a post in the ground and a bunch of strings going off there.
Yeah.
And I try to think about that kind of, you know, almost in the same way that I would think that you would think about working with people. Like, yeah, you could go to the people that are like, you know, necessarily like popping right now in the city, like air quotes popping, but it's not necessarily someone that you know, might respect to that level or might think that should be at that level. And it's like, I could talk to random people that just have some clout that I could just get some buzzes on. But like, I want to find a way to do that organically. That's also authentic. You know, authentic is such like an overused and it's kind of like a gross word now. Everyone's like, you know, keep it authentic and shit like that. And it's like, you want to, but it's like everyone almost like, you know, it's almost like the post that said like, gonna be a big year. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, like, I don't know. It's the whole problem with like trying to keep yourself genuine and still be able to grow. Because the way I think about it, like, here's a perfect example that really resonated with me. Yesterday I was in a golf outing. All right. And it's like, you go to this golf course and everyone's going to hit from the regular guys' tees, right? You know, that's what you assume. Everyone's going to hit from the regular tees. But there was an option that you could pay $20 as a donation and you get this red ball. And that means that you could hit from the women's tees.
Okay.
So you're getting like a 50-yard difference.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck that. I ain't hitting from the women's tees. Like, it's not going to make me any better. But then I see all these dudes who are murderers on these golf balls, beating the fuck out of these golf balls. They're all hitting from the women's tees because why not if they have the option to? But I'm so stubborn that I feel like that we ended up hitting from them. But it's like, I'm like stubborn almost to a fault where I like almost like, you know, it's almost like a negative for me.
You hold yourself or like you stand in your own way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have necessarily stepped up where it's like it's an advantage and I would have had the same mindset.
It's
but
like
at the same time I don't hold it against anyone who would have gone up a tee. To me it would have just been like, I don't know.
But it's like
weird.
It's like if you're like if you hold yourself to like, not saying that like I do everything like, you know, perfect or anything. It's just like I want to kind of, you know, keep the shit to a certain, you know, a certain standard. And
yeah, for me, a lot of times it's like if it's competitive and like, let's say we're all going to run like, I don't know, 100-yard dash or something. And like I have the option to start at the 10-yard line. Yeah. Like I'm not going to take it because if I went like, if I went from a 10 and everyone starts at the goal line, then everyone's going to have an excuse too as to why I won.
That's how
even if
like,
I beat them by 30 yards, like more than the difference that we started at. Like I just don't want anyone to be able to say like, well, he had this, which no matter what you do, people are going to find something that you had an advantage at.
Your shoes were better.
I think you want to get to that point where you don't necessarily give people a reason to, but they find one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you get to that, then like you're doing something.
Yeah, you're doing.
Like if you're wearing the same clothes, same shoes, starting out the same line as someone, you're beating them, and they're coming up with reasons that like you got a haircut the week before and you're more aerodynamic, whatever. Instead of just being like, oh, you know what, he's just faster than me. If you can make people find an excuse for why you're doing better, even though, you know, it might just be whatever, then like you're kind of killing it at that point.
You remember them people in high school that wore like the famous stars and straps?
Yeah.
The shirts that said like, keep talking shit, you're making me famous.
Hell yeah.
You're just like, man, it's like you have that mentality, but it's like you ain't never gonna wear that shirt.
You're not doing anything. Yeah. It is like, man, because like I put up this part of the Earl project I did.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk about that because I feel like that is a revealing thing about you. Because I texted you the one day, and you were like, "I'm in my feelings right now."
Yeah.
about, some people throwing shade on online.
It was just like, so with like there, if you have like a natural progression where it's like every time you release something, one person doesn't like you, doesn't like it, and they're verbalizing it.
Yeah.
That's like, and then, then it goes to two. It's easier to like accept that. But when you go from like kind of no one necessarily being that way to like 30 kids DMing you on Instagram, like telling you to kill yourself and shit, like that was shocking to me.
Yeah.
So like one of the tracks on there I remixed was this Mac and Earl track that was unreleased. And like, I found it, I remixed it. I put it on that project, even though it was more of a Mac track than an Earl track. Earl was on it, I put a video up for it, and like, I didn't realize that unreleased track, like, there's a lot of leaked and unreleased Mac tracks.
Yeah.
Apparently that one is like one that gets pulled down off the internet a lot and really quick. Where the other ones kind of exist, I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know, because like I post remixes a lot, and like UMG, like the copyright police don't touch it. But like if I put up a clip of that, whether it be on Instagram post, Instagram story, within 30 seconds, it's getting flagged and removed.
Yeah.
For some reason, that track, maybe it's because Earl was on it, Mac, there's other Mac tracks that I've remixed and that don't get taken down like that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that one does. I couldn't tell you why.
And you put this out, and how long after you put this out were you starting to get like some hate? And why? Like, where was the hate coming from?
Well, that's what I'm building to. Like, essentially, that one became like a grail for a lot of people, because the original is such a good song. Don't get me wrong, but since it gets pulled, basically what was happening is people were searching for that song.
And yours were popping up.
And it popped, like, it's not like I was marketing it, promoting it as the original track.
Yeah.
Or I don't ever go into remixing a track with the intentions
of just having the name pop up on YouTube and shit like that.
There is an aspect of it that that makes it more accessible and stuff, but like I'll never sit here and say my remix of something is better than the original. It's never going to be, and my goal isn't for it to be better than it's just to create a product, a different take on it or something. But these kids, like, and like I can appreciate it, like they're Mac diehards.
Yeah,
like I love to see that, but it's like, they were so mad at me that when they clicked on the video, it wasn't the original. It's like nowhere does it say there's the original there. Like, I put a link in the original for it, but like I probably haven't had anyone tell me to kill myself since I was like in high school.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? And then 12 years later, I wake up and I have like 30 DMs on Instagram. For some reason, it was Instagram only.
Was this just like all overnight kind of?
Yeah. Just like mad heads telling me like, I can't believe you would. And then like, I got over that pretty quickly. That was culture shock. I called my man, Seth, and he was like, look, you're just doing something right if that's happening. I'm like, he just gave me perspective and, just like
keep some game on that.
And that was cool or whatever. But then like, what was like, then there was kids coming out of the cut and like defending me. And then like my phone's blown up because of all these like YouTube notifications. And I was just like, this shit exists. And like the people that don't like it, like, I don't like, that's cool, you don't like it, whatever. Dislike the video, comment on it a million times that you don't like it.
To go the extra step to DM you all these things.
Yeah, like wild shit, man.
So
like,
and I mean, like I would consider you're a likable guy throughout the city.
Thanks.
You're in a lot of good circles. People like you. It's. I feel like that is that's a common thing. But so you never got really any hate from any of your stuff before this?
I mean, I definitely know people don't like me.
Yeah, but no one's saying directly shit to you.
People that don't know me, and like somebody put it like in a good perspective the other day. They're like, you're just like, when we were really young, like immediately like in circles or involved in things that people wanted to, and even though they had worked really hard, they hadn't. Like I was
Yeah.
very fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a lot of that stuff, and I never really looked at it that way. But like, so I understand that. But like, nah, I mean, like maybe a comment, dislike here.
Yeah, but
and
don't
there.
you think that circle that you were in was that it had enough gatekeepers in those circles that you would have got thrown out like fucking Jazz at the Fresh Prince if you weren't someone who was worthy of being in there?
For sure.
And it's like those are the people that like, you know, that you want to, you know, mimic. Essentially, it's like, you know, you're mimicking people that you're looking up to, and you're learning respect, you're learning the whole game from people that, and that's what you should do as like a youngin coming up, is like trying to take the good things and the respectful things and the honorable things that people have, and be able to, you know, mirror them, but still be able to like not be like just a dick rider, and like build your own life and build your own shit.
I think a big part of it, like when I reflected on what he said when he said that, I think like I would be at a lot of events and stuff, and like I'm just like a quiet, pretty shy, reserved person.
Yeah.
Naturally. So it's like I'm really bad, and it's not, I promise you, like it isn't like an ego thing. Like I'm really bad at going up to people that like maybe I recognize from something or something, because like in my mind I'm
weird.
always like, they have no idea who you are, and you're just gonna be like a weirdo.
Yeah, straight.
So like I'm really bad with that, and like I know, like I've eventually connected with people that they're like, man, I had this like really bad preconceived notion about you, that you were a certain way.
Yeah.
And like all that shit's just like, and I've been in that position too. All that shit's just like manufactured in that person's head.
Yeah, and that's what it is. People build up people, and I think that it's all so interesting, because someone just told me about the dude from Good Sports, like for instance, Steve from Good Sports. Like whenever, I can't remember who I was talking to, they were like, "Oh, I listened to your episode with that Steve dude from Good Sports. I always see him at Zed's," and he was like, "I always thought he was kind of like, you know, just like
standoffish,
because." But I was like, "Nah, dude, he's just very like, you know, he's not someone that's just gonna come up and be like, 'Yo, dude, like I'm fucking Billy Hoyle off Instagram,' like, you know what I mean? It's like, if people know who you are, it's like that's one thing, but it's like." I don't know. People definitely build the shit up into your mind, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like, I'm guilty of it too. You know what I mean? Like I had the wrong idea about people before. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but yeah, I mean, like there's stuff like that. But as far as like directly, like, you know, shit like that, like, nah, I haven't experienced too much of it. But honestly, like the weirdest part were like, I'm grateful that people cared enough about me and my music, like strangers, to feel the need to defend me.
Yeah.
But like that
is weird.
It made me like, something about it made me like,
it makes it worth it.
What made me like almost like insecure, like, bro, like I can stand up for myself if I need to. Like you do, like I am like not some helpless kid on the other side of this screen.
Absolutely.
But, like, people overstate things too. Like people make things out to be more than it is. So like people would be like, this one dude commented like, this was Mac's boy. Like this is like, you're like, by dissing him, like you're dissing Mac. And I was just like, yo, like, pump your brakes, bro. Like, do not overstate or like talk on my relationship with
I get what you're
else.
saying.
Like, because I don't want people to think that I'm putting that out in the world. Like, I never said anything like that. Even when that, like, stuff was first jumping off for him, and like, people where I'm from might have, like from Plum, might have like
built something
associated the two of us. It's like people want to overstate my relationship to someone, so then they can overstate their relationship to me to big up themselves. And it's like, bro, I never said any of this. Like I never said, like I might have stories and shit because I was around, but it's like I wasn't like you know, dudes weren't at it like other people's birthday parties when we were kids at
Yeah, right?
Holiday Lanes and shit. Like, I just know, like,
Yeah,
but
you were
people
there in that
overstate
moment.
it. But when people comment on it, it's like, well, I don't want to delete it necessarily.
Yeah.
But I also don't like necessarily want one of my friends who might have a much closer to think that I'm out here telling people this shit, because like I'm not.
I know. And
anyone who knows me knows that I'm not.
And it's a sticky situation because how about that? Ain't that crazy? For the past like 25 episodes, it's all been boiling hot in this fucking living room with
I
this
love this
AC
right
ripping,
now.
and now it's perfect. Had to put a hoodie on.
I love this.
But it's like, I get what you're saying about like, almost feeling like insecure because, everyone has gatekeepers and everyone is just gonna like call people on their bullshit. Like the true like diehard OGs are gonna call people on their bullshit no matter what, and that's rightfully so. But it's like, it's interesting to think about like, being involved in something, and you've been doing the music shit way more than I've been doing this podcast stuff. But it's like, in the beginning, for the first year, dude, I had like people like, I think it took me a year to break like 10,000 downloads.
Really?
And like like to see the numbers of people listening beforehand, it's like, it's almost just like an open room. Like there's no feedback at all. It's just like you're putting your shit out there and it's no
You're
feedback.
screaming into the void.
Yeah, that's what it is. And like eventually, like, you got boys that are gonna like fuck with your stuff and use your shit and like listen to it and like give you feedback. But it's like once you start getting feedback from like random people,
That's what
like
you want.
I was with my buddy Antoinette and my buddy's sister, and we were at fucking Milkshake Factory.
Nice.
And I was wearing a mask, and someone was like, "Are you the one who does that podcast?" And that's like the first time that it's ever happened. And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "I fucking love it."
That's fine.
And I was like, "That's dope."
That's a good
But it makes
feeling.
me feel so weird. I'm just like,
Yeah, you don't like it's not normalized.
it's not normalized.
Like
But
if
it's
it
like,
happens 30 times, I'm sure you know how to react more. But
yeah, and it made me feel so good in that moment, because it's like, people are really starting to like, it's not just the people that I'm close with, like because that novelty of something new that you're doing wears off.
Yeah.
And
Then you become like a burden to them.
yeah, and it's like I hate bringing up the podcast to like my very close friends, because I'm like, these motherfuckers don't want to hear nothing about it. It's like I'm blowing it up on social media all day, and it's like,
That's me with music too.
yeah, and it's like I appreciate that, and I could respect that whole thought of it, but it's like, it's such like a, like how you were saying, this is new for you, like negativity to that extent.
Yeah.
It's like I get a negative review. Like the other day, someone was like, tried listening, was in the third minute, and they were still doing ad reads. Couldn't do it anymore. It gave me a 1 star, and like it took me to the point where I wanted to like,
You're fuming.
bro, I wanted to break my TV.
Yeah.
I was like, you literally just said it in the review. Like I didn't it said, to be fair, I didn't listen to any more content, but he still gave me a 1 star.
Like, how is that being fair? Like,
Bro.
you're not being fair in the review. Like,
1 star.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have so many of just like, whether they're positive reviews or just no reviews, nothing is positive. No news is good news.
Yeah.
But it's like, whenever you get that negative, it's that culture shock, and you're like, fuck.
Like, what's tight about that though is like, they weren't viewing you as some dude that they know doing a podcast. They weren't viewing you as a dude from Pittsburgh doing a podcast. They were looking at you as a podcaster whose podcast they checked out.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing else. They were looking at you. They were listening to you the same way that they would listen to Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, anyone else. And that's like a super good thing, dude. Like that's a level to which that you've taken it where somebody, a stranger randomly felt enough about the way you were doing something to give their,
I know.
Look, there's a lot of music, there's a lot of podcasts out there that doesn't make someone feel any type of way. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like, nobody wants to be at that level.
And I'm the worst type of like podcast listener, because like I'm like super picky. Like if shit doesn't sound good, I'm like, I ain't listening to this.
Yeah.
Like I will never listen. You could not pay me money to listen to a Zoom interview.
Okay.
People hit me up like, why don't you get someone on Zoom? And I'm like, bro, I ain't fucking, it's hard enough for me to not talk over people. For me to like have to like wait for that lighted box to go away whenever someone's done talking online, like I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like I'm a fucking bull in a cage.
I feel that.
And I can understand it, but it's like it's always interesting to see what it's like over this whole downtime that we all had. Because even if you were working, it's like everyone's still home. This is the most we've all been home in our entire lives. There's no one else that's been like this. There's no period of time that you've never been like this. So it's like you have someone said to me, it's like, in this period of time, a lot of people might find ways to better themselves, but a lot of people might find ways to realize that they're not comfortable with themselves.
I bet, man.
And I felt a little bit of both.
I went through a period in high school where I was self-isolating a lot and going through, or college rather, at Slippery Rock, where I was self-isolating and like realized I wasn't as comfortable being alone with myself as I thought I was. Yeah. I was going through a lot, and like I got that out of my system at the time. So like quarantine, like being alone, like bring it on, bro. Like, yeah, I am with it.
I was fine with it, but it's just it skews the game for everything else. It's I don't know. It's weird. And for the whole, like, there's so many like different avenues that like change. Like you got like music gets pushed back, movies get pushed back, all this stuff gets pushed back.
Movies that were going to be theatrical releases being straight to on demand and stuff. That was wild.
It was.
But the best part of it all was that like I got off house arrest like 2 days after quarantine started.
Wait. So after. Oh my god!
I started like in November. It was a 3-month house arrest, and like
I forgot all about that.
I think I got off like April 2nd, and like April 1st. They April or the end of March, they announced we were actually going into quarantine, and they were sending us home and everything. And I like cut off the anklet, and I was it's just like poetic. Like it was hilarious. People were like checking in on me, like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, like that's fucking hilarious."
Yeah, that's
like that was scripted. You know what I mean?
You weren't allowed to leave at all.
I could. I had windows.
Yeah.
Go grocery shopping and like there's work release and shit like that. So you had that, but like.
See, like, I'm not someone who goes out. Like, I'm not someone who goes to the bar. Like,
no.
You catch me dead. Like, it has to be someone that, like, I really would like to see to go to a concert or something like that. So it wasn't super difficult for me. But, I mean, imagine the people that are, like, that have to go out, the club rats and everything that are just, like.
I mean, bro, I was on it January, February, and March in Pittsburgh. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a whole lot going on outside.
Yeah, so that's not bad.
Yeah, like it was dreary, snowy, so like I didn't, but like I'm a homebody to begin with. Like,
so what did you do besides for music producing while you're having all this downtime?
Like, so I don't know. It's like I did that a lot. Like my daily routine pretty much. And like, obviously I take breaks from this. I deviate from this, but like, Monday through Friday, I obviously have a 9 to 5. I get off that.
Were you working the whole time that people were off?
Yeah.
You were just working from home. Okay.
So I would get done with work or whatever and just go to my home studio and from about like 5 to 10 most nights work on it. Then like Friday night I stay up later working. Then Saturday morning I get up about 8, get myself together, get some coffee, and then I'll be in my studio till about like 3 a.m. And then next day I sleep until about 9:30 on Sundays. And then I'm in there from about like 9:30 to 10 to like I try to get until at least 4. Yeah. Like if I have it, like I'm doing it. And then like on Sundays after like 4 o'clock, like I'm chilling. You know what I mean? But like outside of that, like playing PS4 a little bit. I was playing my Switch a lot more. And then
I saw so many people got a Switch.
Yeah, but me and B Matty are friends on there. I don't think we've played anything yet.
What do you play? Like, what did you play on there? Like Animal Crossing?
Nah, me and Beatty were playing a lot of Splatoon.
What's that?
It's kind of like like a multiplayer shooter, but you're doing it with paint instead of guns or like regular guns. So you have paint guns and you're trying to cover land, like the map and stuff, and you can kill people. But yeah, we were playing that. That was a lot of fun. I liked it because they're really short rounds.
Yeah.
And like there's definitely like different skills and stuff like that, but it was easy for me to get into. I don't really like the violent games. Like I don't like
like Call of Duty and shit.
Yeah, I never really got. I don't really like.
Yeah, I'm not a big
much to do with violence.
Not a big video
to
game
that
guy.
Extent.
It's not even about that. It's just more or less like I just get so frustrated at games.
Really?
Yeah. I've always been like that. The only video game I've ever been good at is GoldenEye and Mario Kart on 64 and Blitz. But,
Blitz was the truth. We might actually, I feel like, might get a new Blitz in a few years once the NFL licensing.
It's not going to be any good though.
You don't think so?
Fuck
you think that era is just?
Well, I just don't play video games
type.
now, so I'm going to get washed. Like I got the new Call of Duty, and like I play with my friends, and the only reason I even played it is if all my friends are video game people, so they're already on there. So it's like I either don't hang out with them, or I buy it and just go and try to dabble. And I'm just getting scraped on there. and no matter what, it's like I'm getting beat. And it's like you got all these little kids that you're thinking about that are just home playing, putting in 10-hour days. Like I ain't never gonna get better than them.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And it's almost like counterproductive because I just get frustrated. Like golf, dude. Golf, I've never done anything in my life that has made me more relaxed, that I enjoy more than golf, but I've never done anything in my life that has made me more angry.
Get more frustrating. Yeah.
Bro, it's like I'm bipolar. I feel like the Hulk at some points because like I'll be cool and then like I just hit a fucked up shot and I really want to break a club.
You forget everything that you did before
yeah.
fun.
It's definitely crazy.
Yeah, I feel that. But yeah, outside of like music and video games, like fortunately I had like two buddies that were coming over.
That's
like,
good.
Because my girl, she tends bar. So, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like, my only days off, like, she's out of the house.
Yeah.
So, like, Smiley was coming over a good bit, and Beatty was coming over, like, every weekend, too. So, like, we would just be chilling. Like, Beatty and I would be music stuff, but then, like, even if that wasn't like on that night, like neither one of us were feeling creative or like, Smiley be there. We were just watching like stupid YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Still very like.
That's good stuff. That's just nostalgic.
Yeah. We're just like watching whatever, like, like Beatty's an Office fan too. Like whatever. Like we would just be watching things like.
Do you watch It's Always Sunny?
Yeah, I love It's Always Sunny.
I just started it, and I'm on. I just got to season 4, and I'm a pretty big Office advocate. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I talk about it on here a good bit. I think that It's Always Sunny has potential to overtake The Office for me.
I don't think Always Sunny has the replay value that The Office does. A lot of their stuff's aged pretty poorly too.
Oh yeah, their first or second episode was all about trannies.
Like the gang gets racist too. Like they've had a few episodes
little
touchy.
Because of
like they did like Lethal Weapon. Yeah, me and my girl were looking for it the other day, and I didn't even think about it. But one of the episodes they remake. Or like they make a continuation of the Lethal Weapon movies, but they do blackface for Danny Glover.
Oh, did they pull that down?
Yeah, you can't find that on streaming.
Well, Dee goes in blackface. It's technically not like her trying to be, an African American.
When she's doing the actress, she's like the Puerto Rican chick.
No, this was like closer. She was like a cat robber or whatever, but she painted her whole face black. And I don't know. It was.
There's some later episodes where
I got to get into it all.
She's trying to go viral on YouTube because like these episodes were like 08, 09 maybe.
Yeah, and it's
earlier.
A whole different world. I didn't even realize that came out in like 2005.
What's crazy, man, was like we were on a family vacation and me and my aunt just happened to be watching TV and it was the premiere of that show.
Yeah,
and her and I. We don't have the most similar taste in comedy and stuff like that, but we were both cracking up at it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where I got into it, like real early. But then like when we got back to Pittsburgh or whatever, like, I didn't remember the show or I didn't care enough to like find
follow
out
along with it or whatever.
Yeah, and then like a few years later,
Then it
when
starts
streaming
buzzing.
like I was getting like the DVDs and stuff. That's definitely a solid show. But yeah, I love Always Sunny.
So like, what is like, you know, do you? I mean, I know you're a homebody, and I'm kind of the same way too. So I could understand if you haven't, but do you find any hindrance in creativity, like organic creativity, like kind of not being able to go out and, you know, do like go to shows or like go chill with like I'm still chilling with people too, but it's like it's not the same. Like your experiences in life spawn creativity. At least for me, did you find any sort of like, you know, almost like less creativity because of this COVID shit at all? Like a writer's block, even creative block.
I get creative block. It's not because I haven't done anything. You know, it's just because like, you know, at some point, like you just need to step away and take a break. And one thing I will say with being locked in like this is I've gotten better at like identifying like, all right, step away from this for a few days.
Yeah.
Not trying to force it.
Like, we ain't got nothing but time, baby. That's it.
I don't know. Like, I don't like, at least for shows, like, I don't know. I have difficulty, like, especially now since I like quit drinking and everything, like I have difficulty.
Was it 10 months? 10 months is it?
I just cracked a year.
A year.
Like, yeah.
Nice. Congrats.
Thanks, man.
There ain't no need for alcohol in life.
Nah. And like going to shows, like that was a big thing because like I get such like anxiety being around a bunch of people I don't know.
100%.
Like, I'm very much so someone who like I want to have like I don't want people behind me either. Like, I want to be standing in the back, preferably like leaning on something. I just get real jumpy.
Dude, think about this. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like now it would have to be like a whole new 58's like show, like a reunion show or whatever, where I would want to go there, but like all my friends growing up and the same way you are, it's like your friends were into like music and shit like that. So that like naturally took us to places like, you know, Shadow Lounge, places like all these other smaller venues and everything that we all went to because we had all of our circles around there.
Yeah.
But it's like, imagine if we didn't have those circles, like them like really, really like them heads that are like, that go there because they're just straight fans. But it's like, I think I only been to so many shows because like my friends were playing in them.
Obligations.
Yeah. Well, not even obligations. It's like I wanted to go and see them, but it's like I can't go to a regular concert now because it's like I get crazy anxiety about it. I feel like that I can never focus on what is there. I'm always just staring, you know, my head's on a swivel the whole time. And it's almost like there's no rest there ever. I can never be restful.
It's hard to get to a point where like, you know, you find yourself enjoying yourself.
Yeah, dude,
you know,
it's
where you're
more
not like trapped inside your noggin.
It's more just me looking around. Like I had front row tickets to the Rack Tours, or Jack White, one of them, and you know, like I'm front row, like looking at this, and I'm like, this is fucking dope. Like I need to be in this moment, but I can't find myself. I can't stop myself from like looking around at everyone and like seeing what people are doing and looking at people's hands and like, you know, wanting to be in the know. And it's like, it makes me feel vulnerable, but I'm just like, fuck, I want to be in this moment and enjoy what is in front of me.
Absolutely.
But it's hard to do that.
Yeah. I struggle with,
it's hard
in settings like that, definitely getting out of my head and like just being present.
Present
in the moment and just like enjoying it for what it is and not being worried. And, I don't like, you know, I reach that every once in a while at those shows where I'm not concerned with the people around me. I'm not worried if someone's looking at me thinking I'm an idiot for the way I'm dressed or talking. Or, you know, anything like that. I get really in my own head. But it is nice when you get away from that and you are just like enjoying it. But I don't have the best of luck with, or I haven't like really conquered whatever that is that makes me that way.
Yeah, we were fortunate though to be able to like have them circles that were already in them lanes that like, you know, got us there a little bit more comfortably.
Yeah, and I don't know, like there's part of me too that like thinks about those days and like a lot of my earliest introductions into those things, like I was already a part of it. I didn't necessarily have this awkward entrance, introducing and meeting people. I was already like at the epicenter of it. So like, there was a lot of things I didn't learn about introducing, making myself comfortable in situations that weren't inherently comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, that was the con about immediately being immersed in it and having this vouch from Brick and Katie and BZ and whomever else and BD that were established in it. I was, you know, given at times like a guest pass, and like I didn't have to, you know, the shell of my lobster didn't get so tight that I had to expand. I was given like a lot of room to feel comfortable in. So a lot of this is like newer experiences and feelings for me being at local things and not necessarily being like immediately comforted, like, you know. So it's something I'm working on, but it's difficult to work on right now because it like, doesn't really exist.
There ain't nothing to do
right now, you know. But
there ain't nothing to do. Do you think that shows are ever going to go back to the way that they were?
I don't know. I couldn't call it. Like,
it's interesting to think about, though.
Absolutely. I don't know. I hope so. Because, well, for a lot of reasons, but mainly I was doing I tapped in for the RZA and Primo IG verses. And it was amazing.
Live.
It was amazing. Really, really, really fun, but I don't want that to be how I intake live music.
Dude, those would be sick shows if like bigger artists like curated tours where it was basically just like battles like that.
That'd be really incredible.
It's like I was thinking about watching who was it? It was Manny Fresh and who was he matched up with?
I don't remember.
I can't remember, but
that was like the only one I tapped into, and like that one was.
I just tapped into it because like people fuck whoever, but they all post about it, and I'm like, fuck, like, and I jump into it, and I'm like, damn, like that's dope. Like you remember all these beats, and it's like it was such like a good. It was such like a good. It just gave me good vibes. Like everyone seemed to be just having a good vibe.
It was really communal.
Yeah, like DMX up in there, just like, you know, he was just living. You know, like that's the best you see him in forever.
Yeah,
it's like one day you see him running down a hotel naked, and you're like, God, I hope DMX is doing all right. Cool. And then like nowadays, and then he's just vibing in the studio, and you're like, all right, my man's on the up and up. Like, let's get it. Like it's all right.
For me, like the Primo RZA was just like the creme de la creme. Like, that was the top, and like everything under it. Not that those dudes aren't legends, amazing, whatever it was. But like for me to take like everything else that would go on, at least wasn't promoted in my bubble enough. The bubble of which I'm contained. Like the people around me weren't talking about it as much, or maybe I genuinely didn't have interest in the artist. But like the Primo RZA was just like, yo, if you were gonna curate one of those verses, that's one
right
I
in your
would
lane.
Put together.
You
know what I mean? And like I would be more intrigued to watch a verses with like Sean Price, rest in peace, Prodigy, rest in peace, them being around against someone like maybe Onyx or someone else than like a lot of the other artists that were doing it. Not that I weren't fans of them. Just that, you know, those were more people that like Sean Price to me is he's one of my favorite rappers. I won't get into if he's the best, worst, anything else about that, but he's one of my favorite rappers.
It's like arguing politics. There's no right answer.
Sure, you know, and it's like I would have like what he would have brought to it outside of just the music. He was just like a really cut up dude. He was really funny. I would have liked to see that. You know, and like I did
because it was funny. Like seeing them dudes like talk and commentate. Like it was funny to see that.
A lot of them too was just like I was doing something. Like if I was working on something, I wasn't gonna like. Take myself away from it for like a lot of people.
It's understandable.
Like I want to, you know, I'd rather be on a versus one day than be watching it that night. So sometimes you just want to.
Yeah, you want to grind.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the zone,
You're in the zone.
You gotta like.
Well, what's coming up? What do you got coming up? Like, what are your goals? I can't remember the last time you were on here. What do you remember? What episode it was? You were one of the early ones.
34.
Oh shit! That's 100. That's literally 100 ago.
It was right around 2 years ago.
Wow.
I feel like it was 34. I could be wrong on that.
That's
I'd give or take 2 on that.
All right.
But 34 was like my favorite number ever. So
I think
like
that.
the stars align. Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of solo. I have a beat tape with some remixes dropping October 2nd. So one really cool thing that has been going on when quarantine started is Bandcamp started waiving all of their fees or what they take out of what you make on their site on the first Fridays of every month. So they waived that, and it's like a lot of people have been dropping on those days.
Yeah.
And Bandcamp is like, remember the rise of like SoundCloud rappers and stuff?
Yeah.
And like how there was this whole scene that just exists on that platform.
Yeah.
Bandcamp's a lot like that, but with like a different subgenre of hip hop.
Yeah.
Or like different subgenres or genres in general. So there's like a pretty big scene there that maybe not a lot of people are tapped into, but for what I do, that's like where I should be hovering around at. So that will be released on Bandcamp October 2nd. There's a number of beat snippets along with I remixed a handful of like Pittsburgh trap songs, putting it over like soulful boom bap beats. Some of which I've like posted and released, some of which I haven't. Like I have a few Hardo remixes on there, a few Deasley Kizzle remixes. I have some like Boaz remixes. There might be a Beatty remix or 2 on there. They're pretty close to being finished, but I also have to, just like
Go through the rest of it. Cross the T's, dot the I's.
Yeah, but it's like for me, like I liked the trap drill scene, a lot of that stuff. And even though I might dabble in making those beats, it isn't my forte. So it was just cool to, put music I like that typically wouldn't be on my type of production, putting it on there and like it's sounding good. Because it's like a shot in the dark. Like the first couple ones I did, I'm getting their acapellas and I'm throwing them on beats I've already made. I'm not curating a beat around it. So what I'm doing is if the acapella is at whatever BPM or beats per minute, I'm then taking my beat, putting it underneath it and manipulating it to make it in time with that. And like the first one I did, I was like, oh shit, this is kind of hard. You know what I mean? Like I didn't necessarily expect it to be because that's such a different...
But it came out better than you thought.
For sure. Like it was really cool. Like a lot of those artists, like their cadences and their flows and stuff that they use, while they sound like great on trap, to hear them on something like a boom bap beat where it might be a little bit more open and there might be a little bit more space, and hear them hitting these different pockets for someone like me is really exciting. Like I was hearing their music better and finding different things I liked about the way they rap just because I was hearing it on a different beat. It didn't necessarily have to be my beat, but that style of production, I hear these pockets that are hitting differently and things like that.
It makes you look at things a little bit different.
Absolutely.
I mean, like you are obviously like, if you're trying to, do like create beats, create podcasts, whatever, you're working out the same type of muscles that you would always want to work out. But if you're like doing something that you're not used to, you're like getting extra, like you're working out things that you're not normally there to work out with. And it's gonna, it's just another tool in the toolbox that you could pull out. Yeah, no,
I couldn't agree more, man. And, there wasn't a point like maybe early in quarantine where it's like, I'm just sitting down making beat after beat after beat, and it's like no one's coming over to record. No one is going to a standalone studio to record. If they have a setup in their house, they'll be doing stuff. But like I'm making a lot, I'm sitting on a lot, and like sometimes for me that can be really uninspiring.
Yeah.
Not working with someone. So like those remixes gave me like, maybe if I'm still just gonna make beats 75% of the time, that other 25% I don't lose a role. I have a different lane, because like after making beats just in a row, like for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but I can get a little bit uninspired, and then things start sounding the same and not sounding good. You're losing things. You're going in with like the same approach. There's no artist that's like, I want to hear something more like this, and that you're crafting something for.
That's a good point.
When you're doing the remixes, it's like working with an artist, but their job's already done. Which is an interesting perspective for me, or approach, because like most of the times I'm working on an album or a project with someone, like my job is 90% done before an artist possibly has done anything.
Absolutely.
They might come, we decide we're going to work on something. They come over, I play some beats, they might pick something out of that. And then a lot of times I'm creating and crafting on my own, and then sending them packs to pick out of.
Yeah.
So by the time they decide they might want to do a project, they probably already have 15 beats picked out, 20 beats picked out, and we're doing 7 tracks.
That's a good point.
And then at that point they're working, sending me things. Oh, I like this, I don't like this, shift this, let's work on that. But like, a lot of what I do has already been taken care of.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be on the flip of that. The artist's job is already done because I have the vocal and the acapella, and now I'm working.
Now it's on you.
Yeah. So it's just anything you can do is like different is good practice, and you have like different practice and stuff. You're ultimately just, the goal is to get better. The goal is to have fun.
The goal is to get better and have fun.
Yeah, man. Like I wouldn't, I don't know. Like there's definitely people out there wildly more successful than me that might not be having fun and stuff, and it's like I don't know, man.
That's all right. Fuck everyone else.
I'm just saying, like I wouldn't really want to trade positions for that. Like this
absolutely
is fun.
We're here for a reason.
Relieving, you know what I mean? And
we're here for a reason.
Ultimately, yeah. But besides that beat tape, I'm working on like maybe 8 to like 15 different projects with like one artist.
Yeah.
So like, and that number varies because it's like how many of them are going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have good ideas and good intentions and want to work, and then like maybe we thought we were going to work well together and we didn't.
Yeah.
Or they get an inkling or an itch to pursue a different project, and that's cool. I mean, like whatever they want to do or work on.
Absolutely.
Like, people that I'm pretty set in stone with are my man James the Flavor Child. He's out of Chicago. He's a dope artist. He has a good following, and we're creating some cool stuff. I just did a few joints for Hubs. He's working on some new stuff. My boy Bossy, me and him are working. My man Brockafella, me and him are working on a project. I don't know, a lot of other clats, like Clinton Hayes is another dude. And I don't know, man, I'm working on a lot of those. So it's a lot of like sending out to people I know that are wanting to do something more than like planning it out, hoping.
And now it's just like once it becomes what it becomes, that's the next step.
Yeah, no, like there's no pressure with the shit. It's like,
it's just
if I send you a 6-pack and you like all 6 of them, we have 6 joints, cool. If not,
fuck it,
let me know, and it's going on one of my joints or whatever. But yeah, so them dudes, yeah, man, just like I'm working.
We're all out here working.
Yeah, I'm not working with whoever, but like I'm working with some people I'm excited for, and like a lot of young cats. Like that Brock dude is like 22, 23. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of people's work ethic at 22, 23 with a passion is more so than like when life's really kicks you in the dick at 27.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're still like maybe green around the ears. You really want to go after it. And he's a dude that's like super hungry that I'm excited for.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, man. And then just like, you know, just like random one-offs with people like my man Eddie Kane. Me and him have a few joints together for his next project. He's out of New York. My man Bub Rock out of Long Island, or I don't know, Long Island, I can't remember. Out of New York as well.
Yeah.
And those are dudes that are all like tapped into like some really cool scenes up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like tapped into like some very developed underground artists there, and have like a really good head on their shoulders and like a path, like a blueprint, an idea of what they want to do, and they're really executing. And those dudes are like making some really impressive and big moves within that underground.
That's good to hear, dude.
Yeah, and then some dudes from Detroit too. Some like, you know, dudes that are staying at like different established artists from like what I've noticed is like some of these artists in other cities that are established will still own a house in that city with a studio and just kind of like let people live for free and work on music out of that crib.
That's wild.
And shit like that, and like really fostering like a scene, a community.
Yeah, cultivating something good.
Yeah, you know, bringing people together, and it's like, you know, and people are coming out with like really cool music, and or like really to see people like creating organic fan bases.
Yeah.
Like say they only have like 3,000 followers on Instagram, but of that 3,000, like 500 will drop or will buy anything they drop.
Yeah, yeah.
If
like
you have
actual
500
fans.
people that will buy anything you drop, if you drop 3 albums that year, and like, you know, you're pressing vinyl, you're doing whatever limit, you know, they're doing cool things too.
Yeah.
If you have
Unique.
500 people that will drop, like, look, there's a lot of people out there with 50,000 IG followers that do not have 500 people that will
Buy what they're putting out.
buy a shirt. You know what I mean? They might have 20 people. 20
Yeah.
people is a good amount of people that, like, I think that's something people get twisted.
Yeah.
Like the psychology behind fans, like in the different levels of a fan, like you have a fanatical fan, and that's someone who will maybe not only drop whatever they're doing to copy your shit, but also like, yeah, they're riders.
Yeah.
Like let someone say something about you ill on anything and like they're there. And then you have like the true fan. They're checking for everything you're dropping. They're copying it. You know, you have a supporter who fucks with you. They will cop something, but it's like maybe they aren't checking every. And you know, and that just keeps like working down. Like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
level of a fan. You know,
Different tiers.
and there's like this whole, you know, there's theories behind it. Like, but yeah, if you have 500 people really,
Yeah, you're
rocking
doing
with you
good.
and buying, like, you know, you're selling 500. You know, there's people, and then like that's the thing too. You can do some cool things when you're doing that. When you have people that rock with you that hard, like boys will put out like, you know, $100 album and $100 CD, and those
You got a good
joints,
fan.
They're doing them at $100 limited press, and those things are selling out in minutes, man. Because
Yeah.
you're doing 100, you have 500 people that really rock with you, and then these cats that like maybe nobody in this city has ever heard of, even though they only live 4 hours away, doing that quick drop in it, and then they're on like Discogs or like eBay for like 5 times the original cost
Yeah.
because it becomes a collector's item.
That's true.
Like you don't have to have this mega fan base to create a collector's item.
You're right.
If you have a couple hundred people who really rock with you, and you can create something under that, and they really, and you know, you're making it limited to, you know, say you drop it on CD first, and you're limited to that, and you're not putting it on all the DSPs, like all the Spotify and stuff, like, you know, like you can curate, like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
fanatical sense, like, so that's
It's a good way to think about it.
There's all these different lanes to create a career, but a lot of people get hung up on
The stuff that doesn't
the number of followers. Like, I could give a fuck how many followers I have if those followers aren't purchasing my shit.
Exactly.
Like, I'm getting pennies on a dollar on a stream.
All right, you got to pause this. I'm going to piss my pants.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Cool. I'm going to get out of here.
While I'm relieving myself in the restroom, I'd like to just remind you to set your reminders on your phone for October 2nd. Flight of the Condors will be releasing from Billy Hoyle. I'd also like to strongly urge you to hop on over to turnerdairy.net and grab a new piece of their merch. Back to the show. That was the first time that I ever had to stop to piss during a podcast. First time ever. I always kept it in my mind since like Rogan has always like looked down upon stopping to piss. I don't know I don't know if I've ever seen him leave to piss. I'm sure he has, but regardless. But
you're someone who seems so health conscious or like aware.
Me,
Rogan.
Oh yeah, I was like me, definitely not.
No, someone like Rogan, he should know like.
Yeah, you're gonna damage your shit.
How bad holding it is.
Yeah,
like we all saw Liar.
Yeah,
Liar.
I was just gonna say that's the only reason I know.
Yeah, I've known that since like Liar, Liar, bro. You know what
that's
I mean?
Like the whole thing with Honey, We Shrunk the Kids about bananas having potassium.
Yeah, 100%. How much shit, like random shit, like from that, just from like kind of pop culture shit's crazy.
Speaking of pop culture, okay, the best part about all the podcasts. I do an ending segment with all the guests. It's called Desert Island Questions.
Yeah.
Everybody gather up, please. I think this is a perfect opportunity for all of us to participate in some really intense, psychologically revealing conversations. So we're going to be playing Desert Island. Desert Island. Desert Island.
Yours is, it's been a minute, so like I don't remember anything you said, but we're going to do them again. So Desert Island Questions is a segment where I give each of my guests 3 categories to take with them on a desert island until they expire. First category is 3 things to watch.
Yeah. Still like taking the Office box set.
All right, that's good.
Something with high replay value. Something that has to be like decently long. I mean, I guess I'd take the Star Wars film franchise.
Yeah, I'll give you all of them.
Like, because that's something I love, and
I'll give you all of those.
Jeez, I mean. Third one, what would I want to watch?
Oh yeah, over and over and over.
You know, what's tough for me right now is that like I've just been watching so much garbage on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Like there's this dude, Mr. GG, who does commentary videos over To Catch a Predator episodes.
Wow.
That shit is he's a funny dude, but like I don't know. I would like to watch something more document. You know what? I'll just go season 1 of True Detective.
Oh.
I'll say that because that's such a good season.
Yeah, that's good. We've been thinking about rewatching that again.
We just rewatched it maybe like 5 months ago. Me and my girl.
That's really good.
Yeah, that one for sure.
I had to force Antoinette to watch it the first time.
My buddy had to force me. I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man." And
dude,
I was like instantly.
I told Antoinette, I was like, "What are we gonna watch tonight?" She was like, "I don't know, pick something." And I started it, and the intro is all weird. So I was like, "Oh, this is just a horror movie." I was like, "It's about some guy who kills a bunch of people." And she was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And then it was just like True Detective, and she was like, "Ah," and then she really liked it.
Are you good with starting new shows and new movies?
Oh yeah, I try to watch new stuff, but that doesn't mean that I will watch the most ridiculous things ever. Like I watched Heavyweights the other day. I just watched.
We just watched that not too long ago.
Just watched Liar Liar not long ago because it was on. Just watched. What did I watch that was? It didn't hold up at all. I can't remember, but I watch it. But I'll revisit the same old ass movies that I've watched millions of times, like Major Payne.
Yeah,
Like I've watched it a million times, and I don't need to watch it anymore, but I watch it anyway.
I'm pretty bad with starting like new shows and things.
If I hear enough about it,
Yeah.
then I get into it. Like
I
Parasite.
gotta be in a mood, bro.
Yeah,
like
you
I
go-
gotta be in, like, the thing with me that I'm trying to break is like there's so much comfort in watching something that you already
Oh, yeah, you don't have to
enjoy,
pay
even if you
attention
haven't
to it.
watched it in 20 years.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I'm trying to get better. Like I have to be like in a very specific
Present.
mood.
You got to be present.
Exactly.
That's all about being present.
I'm worse with it with music than I am with
Yeah, because you don't have nothing to watch necessarily. It's just playing in your ears.
100%.
Okay, so now I usually do 3 things to read on a desert island question for desert island questions. Do you read?
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 books.
1984.
Yeah,
Which, if I had to guess, because I can't really remember my answers last time, but I'd probably say that I said
think you picked that
with the exact timing, just because like that's just forever my favorite book. What else? Good one I've read. There's this book called Quiet. It's about it's for introverts. It does a really good job of explaining the difference between introverts and extroverts, which most people think they know, but not necessarily know. But like, there was a lot of personal growth for me and empowerment in that book.
Yeah.
Just like understanding, like, there was a lot of times that I thought like maybe some things were cons when they were pros and things like that. But it was an interesting book, and I would just really like to read it again. So I guess
Quiet.
yeah, and I think you can read that over and over and still take a lot of things from it. I used to read all the Dalai Lama's books
Really?
just for like, yeah, I mean, they're
I think last time you were on here,
probably said Tao of Wu, Riz's book.
that I don't know if you said that. You said some coffee table books.
Oh yeah, coffee table
Who was
books
that?
are great.
But who was it? He was a rapper who does coffee table books.
I can't remember actually.
I can't remember either. But all right. So did you pick the third one? Right?
I think so, bro.
Yeah. You just said.
I said 1984.
You said you said the Dalai Lama's books.
Yeah, like I guess those, if I could get like a collection of them.
I'll give you all of them.
They're just, I mean,
There's life lessons that you could read over and over and get different things from, I'm sure.
yeah, something like that. Which I guess if I was really posed with going to a desert island, you'd want something that was like more entertaining. But I guess those have like the replay value on those would be pretty high.
Yeah, that would be
You know?
good. It's like,
I guess if I was going to a desert island, bro, I'd really just bring a gun.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't just, I would, if there's no hope.
how to
just
fashion
like,
a gun out of bamboo shoots.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Third category is 3 CDs to take with you.
Yeah. This one's always like the toughest. Part of you is like, this is probably going to be the part I'm most judged on.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 categories. But I would still bring Illmatic. I would still bring Food by MF Doom. And probably like the Temptations' greatest hits.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good variety.
Yeah. Illmatic is one of my favorite albums ever, which it is for very many people, but it was an album that really took me down a different listening path in music than my friends. Like, when I got into it, I don't even know how I stumbled across it. That released when we were like 4 years old. That was like a 94 album. So it's obviously you weren't listening to that then.
Yeah.
But I got into that pretty early, and it really helped like shaped my taste when a lot of people's ears were going in different directions. Food. MF Doom's just like one of my favorite artist. I like that album a lot. I don't know.
That's fine.
There's high replay value. And then the Temptations are just like my favorite musical kind of like entity
Yeah, that's good
of
stuff.
all time. I was raised by my grandparents, so 3WS heavy and like the Temptations especially. And yeah, I don't know.
All right. So the third to last question is the death row meal. Whatever you want to eat from wherever you want.
Della Cella's Pizza.
Della Cella's Pizza.
Hell yeah. It's my favorite pizza in Pittsburgh.
Where's that again? Where's it at?
Verona,
Verona.
Penn Hills.
I think we talked about this last time. Antoinette has told me about it, but I'm going to have to listen to it. Or go try it out, I mean.
It's like, to me, there's a lot of people that it's like a very love-hate thing.
Yeah.
I grew up on it, and it is like the most delicious thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
But like, same with like Beto's. I know a lot of people that love Beto's or P&M.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that hate it. Like, I can't say I know too many people that dislike Dell's, but you know, you can get it half baked. We used to eat it half baked all the time, so that was just like dough is already cooked, sauce on it, cheese on it.
Yeah.
Like that adult Lunchables type thing. But
I love it.
I grew up with Anthony Della Sella, like the family's son. So it was like after soccer games, anything after basketball practice, we grew up playing sports together. We'd go there, and it just like hit.
It's nostalgic.
Know? Yeah.
Okay. Second to last thing we do on the podcast is a segment that I call the Turner's Crate. And this is where each person that I've had in the past, I haven't been keeping up with it, but people submit their questions into here.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to grab one in there and read it and answer it to the best of your ability.
Okay.
Who's it by?
Oh my god, this is a good one. Ryan
Pervet.
Yeah, episode 26.
Yeah, this one gets picked a lot, but it's a good question.
Yeah, if you can change one event in your life, do you use it for something that already happened or save it for the future? I don't know if I had like the opportunity to change anything about my past
that's what I mean, dude.
I would use it.
We're here for a reason. You know, we could have fucking cancer next year, and like, you know, that's why I would keep it for sure.
But I don't think I would use it in the future either. I just don't think I would ever want to play with fate and like butterfly effect.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
I wouldn't want to play with it. That's a really interesting question, though.
It is.
But I've often thought about changing things in my past because, you know, obviously I've made a lot of mistakes. Everyone has. But like anytime that I reflect on times that like I really fucked up, bro, I've had some pretty big fuck ups in my life, like especially like pretty young, and like things have like really worked out for me.
Well, that's good.
I don't know if part of that is me just being able to find silver lining, or me just being like, well, if it happens, it's the best possible outcome. You know what I mean? But like, I wouldn't want to change anything, like especially like people that I've met.
Yeah.
You know, like me getting kicked out of college my freshman year for some bullshit, like led me to meet a lot of people that I wouldn't have met if I stayed at school there.
Absolutely.
And a lot of that led me into
different things.
Working at Timebomb.
Yeah.
Like if I had not got kicked out of the first college I went to, never would have started working at Timebomb. It just worked out. You know, I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have met majority of my current friend group.
Yeah.
Had it not been for something at the time that seemed so devastating.
That's a good point.
So a lot of, like, so I think about that a lot, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this might have been a devastating event, and I might not be able to pinpoint like the cracks in the glass that were good from that accident. But just being able to know that like something like that, a lot of good came from it. It would be impossible for me to change anything. And then, I mean, looking at the future the same way.
I like that though. That's a really good answer.
Can I pick another one?
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah, go ahead. Pick another one.
Interesting question.
There is some interesting ones in there.
Okay, let's see what this one is. What 3 movies would describe your life? Pick beginning, middle, and end. Zach.
Pishny.
Yep, episode 2. What 3 movies would describe your life?
Yeah, so whenever I asked him like what his context was with this, and he said that like, your childhood, what movie best describes your childhood? Like
encapsulates it?
Yeah. And like, your high school years and like nowadays.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good question too.
That's a real good one. It's difficult, you know what I mean? Like a million movies come to mind. Yeah, so it's not necessarily like defines like you would have been in the movie or like movies about your life.
I think it's just what it like mine for my childhood is the Monster Squad. Like that movie is like something completely random, has nothing to do with me or anything about it. But that's what I think
childhood. That's what comes.
That's
to mind.
what comes to my mind.
The Sandlot.
Yeah.
I think childhood.
That's a good one. I try to think like what my high school would be, and I think my high school, like what I have watched, probably is like maybe like I would say like something that I watch over and over is like Donnie Darko.
I knew you were gonna say Donnie Darko, dude. Before you even, that's funny.
Well,
that one would be up there for me too.
I watched it for the first time in 7th grade, and I didn't get it.
Just fucked you up.
Yeah, it fucked me up because I was like, "What is this?" And then like. In high school is whenever I started watching it because I was like, that emo scene. I was like, you don't understand me.
Of course, man.
Yeah. So I think that would be it. And I try to think of what mine would be now. And I think now mine would be like Office Space.
Office Space is, yeah. My like high school, adolescence, middle of where I am now would definitely be White Men Can't Jump, or like Coach Carter.
Yeah.
Those like basketball movies and
hit home with you.
Well, they were really something that me and my friends like watched a lot. Or like Mean Girls.
Bro, I watched
Mean Girls was really like
I watch it all the time. It was like a cheat code into life.
Oh yeah. That and like there was a lot of like I watched a lot more movies in high school than I have
from
any time after, like a lot of movies that were new to me, but even something like Hot Rod was a real like.
I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day.
We would go over my boy Regi Rogel's crib and just like watch Hot like 4 times in a row. Like it was stupid. What we would do, it was so stupid. We would play like basketball in the driveway and then just watch Hot Rod like 4 times in a row, bro. There was no way. By the 3rd time we watched that day, that we were genuinely laughing.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way that it was genuine.
You just replay it.
Yeah, even like Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was one that we always like replayed.
A lot of those, I would say, like the Napoleon Dynamites and like even Superbad. Why I think they're
that's a good point. That's a good one. Superbad.
Yeah, very defining of that period in my life. Because if they didn't release in that period of time, I probably wouldn't have liked them.
Yeah, like
if Hot Rod came out now, I can watch Hot Rod now and laugh my ass off. If Hot Rod was a new movie now,
it wouldn't be
I'd
that
probably
funny.
view it differently.
Yeah, I agree.
Same
with
with something like Superbad. Those coming of age movies,
I agree with that.
Currently, Office Space is
that's
perfect.
Office Space is a good one.
Yeah, Office, like you don't realize how
relatable it is,
real that is. Until you get into an environment like where you're like, okay, I have a boss that I directly report to.
Yeah,
but I work in this huge company, and this person has a boss who has a boss who has a boss. And like, if you fuck something up, and not even like fucking it up, like that's the one thing with like that they nailed with those TBS report cover sheets. It's like using that sheet was very inconsequential to anything they did with it afterwards. You know what I mean? Like the old cover sufficed. It alone suffices. But it's like these nuances where it's more just like, oh, you want me to do it this way because you want me to do it this way.
Exactly.
Not because there's any benefit from doing this way.
It's just the way that it is.
And then if you mess it up, hearing about it from 3 people in the exact same like you know, just like, and people you work with are great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you work with good people, but it's the fact that, like, your direct report boss doesn't know if somebody else talked to you. And, you know, and a lot of times it's just their boss being like, well, you have to say these 4 buzzwords so that if we let this person go in 8 months,
you can
they
say
don't
that
have
you
a
say-
case that, you know, and like when you see the inner workings of a lot of places and stuff, like that movie, like, it was funny when you didn't know.
Yeah.
And then,
Now
like,
you're
once
like, okay.
Fuck, this hits too close to home. It's even funnier.
I agree. All right, last question. If you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
My grandfather.
Besides your grandfather?
Are we going to say people not related to me?
Yeah, anyone that's not a loved one.
So I'm just like crossing people off the list now.
That's all right.
It's like anyone in history, like you probably wouldn't want to talk to because I don't know, man. Like their way of thinking, their way of life would have to be so much drastically different than ours with the way society's progressed.
Someone picked Donald Trump, and he was like, I don't necessarily have to like him, but I want to talk to him and ask him about
Donald
stuff.
Trump would be really interesting to talk to, especially if you get to pick Donald Trump from an era, not necessarily like current.
Yeah, not current.
Because I'm not a supporter by any means. I lean much more the other way.
But it would be interesting to hear. And
Could be
able
fascinating
to, just
to talk to someone like that. I'm trying to. If I could pick anyone, especially if they're alive, if you can pick any era, I would want to. Maybe like Nas at like 16, 17. Like
all
when
right.
he started crafting Illmatic and stuff like that, because part of the reasons that album had so much influence on me, or like maybe my thought processes of things, is because I just enjoyed it sonically from the get-go. But as I got older, like maybe even like around 24, and I was reflecting on myself at 17, 18, to hear what he was putting into music and what he was doing with his words and the way he was expressing his thoughts and what his thoughts were, for a 17-year-old to be able to do that. Like, and it's until you're fairly far removed from being 17 that you can realize how much of a dipshit you were at 17 and how profound
wow, that's a good way to
his
think about
thoughts
that.
were at that point. And to, you know, he probably can't verbalize, really articulate accurately what was going through his mind to make him seen that way. But for him to think that way at a certain age, I would like to meet him then to see, you know, what shaped that. I'm sure a lot of it had to do with socioeconomic surroundings and like where he was from. But like there was this aspect of it where it was like a lot of it might not be like, he might not have been like off the porch in it, but it was, he couldn't escape it. If you're looking out the window and you're seeing it, and it's like, why didn't you, like, you know, what made you look at it this way? Like, you weren't like big upping it. You know?
But like, how did you get that perspective at that
It's
age?
such a young age.
That's a really good answer, and that was a very well thought out answer. That's a really good point. I feel like that, you know, we don't think about things like that. Like I wonder, you know, just offhand, how long, you know, like Jimmy Page and Robert Plant and all them, like whenever they wrote like Stairway to Heaven and stuff like that, it's like those like big pieces where you're just like, how the fuck did this come together?
Where did it come from?
Yeah, because even like 5 years ago, whenever I'm 25, 24, like I'm a fucking idiot. Like I know I had a completely different things were different things that didn't mean anything were more important than other things. But that's a really good point. I like that answer.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I would just be really interested in picking the mind of someone that at that point understood so many things that took me a lot longer to figure out.
I think that I changed my answer after listening to Mike Tyson on Joe Rogan, the most recent one. That was one of the best podcast episodes of all time, and Mike Tyson seems to have, like Mike Tyson, man, he is wild.
There's a lot of pain there, man.
Yeah.
I would be really interested in something like that too.
You ever fuck with his book? You should dive into his book.
I would like to. I would like to get into that.
Like, that dude is a wild animal.
Oh, dude, if not to like go back and like change my answers on the book, but do you know who Rude Jude is?
Yeah, that's who you told me. That's who it was. Rude Jude.
Yeah, Rude Jude. His two books, Hyena and Hummingbird.
Yeah, that's what you told me.
They're kind of like memoir-y. They're almost like journal entries in a lot of ways, but it's raw, and it's a writing style that I like because they seem more like entries and stuff like that. But there was a lot of perspective gained from those books, and they're fucking hilarious. But like the first one's called Hyena because like hyenas kind of like have that cackle at inappropriate times.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what defines that book is like you're going to be laughing at his life experiences, but like when you really reflect on them, there's nothing funny about that.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff he went through in different.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, those are good ones, man. You can just
I'm gonna have to look into those.
nowadays. I mean, you probably could then too, but you can just pull those up on YouTube and listen to them, read them, like the audio books and stuff. I'm
gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah, there's some cool ones.
All right, dude. Take a second and give out your information, where people could find your work, where people could hit you up at.
So, social media, Twitter and Instagram is at Billy, BILLY _ Hoyle, HOYLE 412. That's Twitter and Instagram. YouTube is going to be you could go to youtube.com/C/Billy Hoyle. That's C for channel, Billy Hoyle, or you just search Billy Hoyle Pittsburgh. That's going to come up. Bandcamp is going to be billyhoyle.bandcamp.com. My website is bhbeats.com. That's my standalone website. And then on all streaming platforms, Tidal, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Play Music, anything like that. If you search Billy Hoyle, I'll be the first result there. There are other results for Billy Hoyle.
They're fakes.
Yeah, they're the fakes. I'm the real guy that stole that name. But yeah, you'll find me. It'll be a picture of a very Yinzer looking dude.
Next project you need to do for summertime, something vibey, you need to just call it Quince.
Yeah, that would be tight.
That would be a sick project.
That would be real sick. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna write that one down. My phone's over there. I'll listen to this.
Everyone else that's listening to this, I appreciate it as usual. A lot of great episodes. October's coming up. We got Halloween shit popping. About to be spooky vibes up in here. You already know that. Got some merch coming. It's going to be a lot of good stuff coming up. So keep your eyes and ears. I guess your ears open. Eyes too, I guess, social media. But while you're out there, follow us both on Instagram, follow us both on whatever we're doing. And, if you could and if you feel nice enough, subscribe and rate and review the podcast. That's a big deal for me. But I appreciate everyone listening. I'll call you right back.